Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Staniak. We are joined here in the Neighborhood Loan Studio with Joey Matthews, VA Loan Nerd, Dave Rosenfeld, RE/MAX Signature, and we are here talking about common questions. Okay, I want to ask you guys, what is the most common question that you've gotten over the past, let's say, 6 months? And Joey, you're thinking, you already have one in your head. What's the most common question?
I think the most common question I'm getting is where are housing prices going? Where are rates going? Right.
Okay.
I think that's
Good thing we have Dave here.
Top of mind for everybody. Exactly. Right. Yeah, it's a fool's errand to time the market. At the end of the day, that's what someone's trying to do. They're trying to time the market. That is a fool's errand. I know people that have been trying to time the market for the last 5 years that are now several $100,000 poorer for doing so. So don't.
I want to get your view of that, and if that's a similar question that you get a lot. I think the timing the market aspect is most people's flaw. I have an investor who came to me. They've already regretted not buying more properties over the past 5 years. I'd say, okay, well, let's pick it up. They have one rental, but they want to buy more rentals. And they came to me in September. It's now February, and they still haven't picked up one because they're always finding reasons of why this doesn't work or overanalyzing. Ultimately, if you are picking up property, if you're buying your first home, a second home, your 10th home, the game is over time, picking up doors, getting your first house, just getting your second house, whatever that may be. Stop trying to time it because you're never going to time it perfectly. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I agree.
One of the biggest problems I have with clients is trying to find perfection.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I want a $800,000 house, but I only want to pay $300,000 for it. And then it becomes analysis paralysis. You get in there and it's like, well, this doesn't have a Wolf range or this doesn't have a Thermador. And you're scratching your head a little bit. You know, I always reiterate, there's certain things that you cannot change about a house. You cannot change where it's located.
Yeah.
You cannot change north-south facing or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But you can change flooring. You can change paint, and you can change walls. Everything else, and I walk through with my clients, and I'm like, we could literally move this wall and everything else. I showed a house yesterday. I felt ill when I left because it was just so dirty. I mean, honestly, this house was built in the 50s. It was terrible. But my client was like, what would it take to tear this apart? And I said, 2 dumpsters. And she looked at me completely confused. I said, look, you got friends. You're young. Literally, you put dumpsters out there and you just start smashing walls and ripping out carpet. Taking things apart is easy.
Yeah.
It's cheap. You got people to do that. Yeah. It's the rebuild.
It's fun.
It is fun. Oh man, you would talk about
you ever take a sledgehammer to a wall? So, well, okay, if you have a client that is going through those emotions of trying to find perfection, what do you usually say to them? If this camera is that person, what do you say?
Even a brand new $1 million home isn't perfect. That's what you have to remember. I have built a home for myself and my family from the ground up. And after you've lived in it for a day or a week, as you're getting closer to just close on the house, it's like, we should have done this.
Yeah.
And we should have done that. There's no house that's perfect. And that's what you have to remember when you're shopping. Listen, if you are not 60 years old or older, you're not buying your final house, okay? You're buying a home to live in. It's not going to be this is forever home, okay? I literally built my house from the ground up. Hey, look at that. This is what happens when you get old. You forget you got your readers on.
Did you think that was your final house at the time?
I built it from the ground up with every intention of it being my final house. Literally, wide hallways. The stairwell was built so I could take the stairwell out and put in an elevator for when I'm old and crippled and in a wheelchair. The entire thought process was this is our final home. And then my kids and my grandkids moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, and my wife was bankrupting me on airplane tickets.
Wow.
So we moved closer. So now we're only 5-hour drive away from Las Vegas. And it's easy. But that was my retirement home. That's where we were going to live forever. Obviously, that's not the case. Now, the house I'm in now, I'm 60. It's going to be my forever house, all right? If I don't win the lottery, I'm dying in that house, all right? It will be haunted when I freaking get rid of it.
All right. So stop trying to find perfection. Stop finding. I mean, finding perfection is finding reasons why not to buy.
Not to buy. So here, you talk about one of our biggest problems.
Yep.
What I need my veterans to understand is we always talk about no down payment. You guys can do 100% financing. Look at me in the eye. You over there, look at me. That doesn't mean there's no out-of-pocket costs. I need you to know you have to have money in the bank when you buy a house. There is a cost for a earnest money deposit. Now, that earnest money deposit, typically 1%. So if you're buying a $500,000 house, you're putting $5,000 down in earnest money. You are going to have a home inspection. We'll call it $500. If there's a pool, it's going to be $600. You're going to have to pay for your appraisal. So we'll call it $500 or $600 as well. So there are costs out of pocket. Now, when you close, that earnest money deposit is either going to be, you choose, down payment or other closing costs, whether it's HOA fees or whatever the case may be.
Could even come back to you.
Yeah.
Or it can come back to you. Oh, by the way, there's even down payment assistance programs to help with that, even on a VA loan. And we'll get into that we'll do a whole different segment on that.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things is that I have veterans come to me and say, wait, what do you mean I need $5,000?
Yeah.
Well, no, you're going to need more than that because it's not no cost. It's just you don't need 5 or 20% down. What's one of your biggest finds?
Ooh, one of my biggest questions currently is I do work with a lot of investors, and I take great passion in helping people become investors and building wealth long term. And that could be just taking your first house, turning it into a rental, and buying your next house to live in and recreating that. It could be buying your first Airbnb. It could be buying your first second home that you subsidize half the month to pay for it. Any of those things, if that triggers you, get with this team right here so we can kind of strategize. But the key is how, this is my common question, how do I get more property over the next 15 years? And the best way to look at and answer that question is treat real estate like you do your 401k, your money market account that you trade in if you trade, your checking account, your savings account. What people forget to realize is that real estate, in this circle of life, you have all these different aspects of where money goes, and most people just forget to have real estate be a part of that. And so with that being said, you might think about how you budget your money every year, how much you put away, how much you put in your savings, your 401k, but you need to sit down with your real estate team, your lender, your real estate agent, even your financial advisor. I highly recommend it. And sit down and say, what is our plan over 15 years? How many properties would we like to have? Would we like to have maybe 5 properties, maybe 15 if you're aggressive, maybe 2? It could be, there's no wrong answer. My whole point is, what does our future look like? Just like when you're planning for retirement, because that real estate should be 25% to 50% of your potential portfolio.
Wait a minute, right there, key word, your real estate is part of your investment portfolio.
Yes.
Yeah.
So folks, if you own a home right now and you have not had a market analysis done on your home, call me. I don't care where you are in the country. I know people literally everywhere.
Yeah.
If it's not here in Arizona, if it's here in Arizona, I'll do the analysis for you. But I need you to know, you need to know where your property stands.
Well, Dave, think about it. How many people in Arizona, if you look at their equity standpoint, how much their house is worth compared to what they owe, that delta, that equity, that makes up probably 80% of somebody's net worth.
Absolutely.
And so that is the validity to, if that makes up 80% of your net worth, why am I not thinking about that more in my future as opposed to, okay, how do I own more properties? And so just sitting down and actually getting with people who have done it, who deal with real estate, getting with a financial advisor, getting with loan officers who actually own property and play in that game, in that market, and saying, okay, what does your future look like? 5, 10, 15 years? what type of property is in that portfolio in a perfect world. Give me your craziest ideas. Give me your dreams.
Here's one of the biggest things I have found with investors, though. And I don't mean people that own 30, 40, 50
Yeah.
doors. I'm talking about people that want to get their second door
Yeah.
or their third door. They look at it as, this is my home. And you can't look at an investment property as your home.
Yeah.
You know, there are rentals out there that you may want to have granite countertops and, you know, a Thermador oven or, you know, a jacuzzi tub. But most of our rentals are not necessarily at that level. A lot of rentals can be a KB home. You know, it doesn't have to be a Toll Brothers home or something like that. It doesn't have to be high end. You could have an entry level investment home that you're using as a rental.
Yeah, you could have a property in Tennessee. You could have a property in Kentucky.
Absolutely.
What?
You can have properties out of state where it might be
Alabama.
lower cost. But the point is actually have a game plan for how does real estate work in your retirement plan. How many properties would you like to own? Would you like to own a second home? Give your team your craziest dreams and then develop a path to get there. If you have no path, then what ends up happening is 15 years down the road, we hear clients say, crap, I wish I would have done something different.
Every single time.
Right?
Every single time. And veterans. Excuse
Veterans.
me. Forget the veterans. All right. I love you guys. But
forget 'em.
active duty guys, if you are currently stationed at Fort Bragg, I can say brag. If you're there, there are amazing investment opportunities. And I've got a phenomenal good friend who is airborne, and we'll get you a property at Fort Bragg. Breathe, man, breathe. I know you got a client
So
looking there right
excited.
now. If you want to, and you PCS from Bragg to Lewis, you turn your Bragg home into a rental and you buy a property at Lewis. And then when you go to San Antonio, obviously I'm talking about a medic because that's the only person that's going to all these places, right? But there, you buy a door everywhere you go, and then you turn it into a rental.
Yeah.
If you're doing 20, 30 years in the Army or
gonna have a
Navy,
nice portfolio.
whatever, you're going to end up with a half a dozen doors by the time you retire. You don't even have to worry about retirement income at that point.
Yeah. If you own one home right now and that makes up a lot of your net worth, that should be the reality check to say, I need to figure out how to own more of these. How to own more of these properties. And so sitting down, developing a 5, a 10, a 15-year plan, specifically when it comes to real estate as part of your portfolio, and you know, how many homes, what does your future look like? That is my most common question. How do I do that? And the only way to figure that out is if you sit down with your real estate, mortgage, and financial team and develop a plan.
We have access to conference rooms, folks. We can bring the whole team together, or we can do it by Zoom, whatever makes you happy.